Welcome back, everyone. We're here with another Q&A on anything related to keto or nutrition. So bring your questions. We're going to try to get through as many as possible. Anything that I say, it's not meant to cure you. If you happen to be cured, don't mention our name. And just It's illegal to cure people in the state of Virginia. So that being said, let's dive right in, Steve.
All right, we will avoid that like the plague. Debbie from YouTube, is cortisol a hormone and does it contribute to belly fat and weight gain?
Yes and yes. It's a hormone, and it does, if it's chronically elevated, what it does is it mobilizes your body for a stress state. And it can actually put you in a state where it's breaking down protein, including your own muscle, the thigh muscle, and the gluteus maximus, your butt muscle. And it can convert that to sugar, which is then converted to fat around the midsection. And that way you have a real nice survival mechanism. If you're stranded on a desert island, you can go for many, many months without food.
All right, well, there you go. Okay, Cindy from YouTube, could you please discuss why menopause gives us hot or warm flashes? And also at 62, I'm now experiencing feelings of excitement in the solar plexus. My menopause started at 51. Thank you.
This relates to that darn hormone called cortisol, because what happens during menopause is the ovaries go into retirement. There is the question of what's producing these hormones now, the female hormones. Well, the adrenal glands can make the same hormones as the ovaries if your adrenals are in good shape. So you can imagine if you had a lot of stress before menopause, then after menopause, your adrenals might not be coping as well as they should. And when this whole hormonal pathway gets affected, it goes right up into the top of the master gland, which is the pituitary, and then even the higher up into the hypothalamus. So you have this feedback, kind of like very similar to a thermostat. If something is happening lower in the body, then it's going to send signals up here. That's a kind of then it eventually should turn off. So there's a glitch in the circuitry, so to speak, in your hormones. And so that can affect other parts of your hypothalamus, which affect temperature, perspiration, and all that's connected also to the circadian rhythm. So you might have more night sweats, for example. So I've done videos on that. So the solution, there's several things you can do, but you want to support what could be beneficial to enhancing the adrenal output. And sometimes that could just be giving the adrenals more of the raw material to make these hormones. And that is cholesterol. So you would consume maybe more shrimp, shellfish, things like that to increase more um, raw material to build more hormones.
All right, very good. How about Sharon from Facebook? Is there a good supplement or something that can help temper sugar cravings?
Yeah, but I want to first add one more thing. Progesterone cream seems to be a good solution as well, because if you look at the drop in estrogen, it goes down like that after menopause, but progesterone goes down even lower, close to zero. So a good progesterone cream could also be a solution to help you with those hot flashes. Now, as far as sugar cravings, there's a lot of things that can help sugar cravings. Of course, the big one is that you have to realize that eating sugar causes sugar cravings. So you have to stop eating sugar to get rid of your cravings and force the body to look for some other fuel like fat. So there's the way that you get your body to burn fat is by lowering your sugar in the diet. How do you know when you're burning fat? When you have no more sugar cravings at all, and you're not hungry that much because your body now flipped over. So you must reduce that, and also reduce the number of times you eat. So all the little snacks. So if you had a lot of snacks, you might find that you're craving too, because you don't let your body switch over to burning fat. So there's other things too. You can, apple cider vinegar with water is good. That can help. Or even berberine is a good natural supplement for blood sugar support. There's a lot of things you can do.
Here's an interesting question from Eric on Facebook. My cholesterol is 99 and my triglycerides are 47. Is my cholesterol too low?
I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't worry about it. I wouldn't worry about that because there, most of the cholesterol in your body, like 80% of it, is made by your own body. It's made by the liver. And unfortunately, I just gave away one of the questions, didn't I? So your cholesterol is needed for making like stress hormones. So like even like when you're going through menopause, if your cholesterol is needed in more amounts, your body will make more. And so people not thinking cholesterol is a really necessary raw material, they are so concerned by keeping their cholesterol lower. Well, you also starve off the immune system and you set yourself up for a whole other bunch of problems. So I wouldn't worry about cholesterol levels. I think you could just get an advanced lipid profile and look at the two different types of LDL, the one that is mainly low density lipoproteins. So watch my video on the two different LDLs and you'll get that data.
Okay, speaking of watching, let's find out if there are, in fact, people watching the show beyond the United States. So we'd like to say a good day to all of our viewers joining us today from the UK, Canada, Mexico, Romania, Armenia, the Czech Republic, Nigeria, Israel, Slovakia, Guyana, Bolivia, Oman, India, Germany, Chile, the Bahamas, Cyprus, Bangladesh, cool name, Egypt, Morocco, the United Arab Emirates, Kenya, Australia, Kazakhstan, Switzerland, Greece, Indonesia, Austria, Thailand, New Zealand, Lithuania, Ireland, Kuala Lumpur, said that right, Spain, Ethiopia, Barbados, South Africa, Belgium, Finland, Uzbekistan, Scotland, Tanzania, Panama, Qatar, or Qatar as you like, Zambia, the Netherlands, Gambia, Hong Kong, Venezuela, Korea, Malaysia, France, Somalia, Jamaica, Brunei, Denmark, Malta, haven't heard from them for a while, Tunisia, China, Trinidad and Tobago, Zanzibar, Tasmania, big list today, Guatemala, Norway, El Salvador, Italy, Saudi Arabia, and all across these United States. So thanks everybody so much for joining and, it's importantly recognizing your nation or home right here on the show. Tracy from Rumble, do you have any core recommendations for someone trying to get pregnant at 44?
You want to get in the basic eating plan that I recommend. You probably don't want to do a lot of fasting. Why? Because fasting can trigger famine. And during points of famine, you might lose your period and become less fertile because the body's like, oh, we better not get pregnant now. So that's probably not a good idea. But in just improving your nutrition is going to be very, very important before you even get pregnant. Like if you could do that. And I'm talking about good amounts of vitamin D, especially like I wouldn't take anything less than 10,000 IUs a day, getting a lot of sun. Make sure you take your trace minerals, iodine, zinc, copper, cobalt, boron. All these things are going to be important as the trace minerals. So your child has a chance of having perfect teeth, perfect bone structure, that type of thing. They don't, because you can have just a deficiency of a certain trace mineral, even vitamin D, and end up with dental malformations or even scoliosis or flat feet or even bowed legs. So these are all really, really key. What a woman consumes is going to determine a lot of the health problems that a child has later in life, especially even the first trimester. If you don't have enough vitamin D, the chance of you getting asthma go way up, or the child getting asthma. So this nutrition is so important. Don't buy a cheap prenatal. Get something that comes from food, and make sure you're not on any special like restriction diet that could be limiting the nutrients in your body. So very important.
All right, very good. And so are our questions. Here's the first one for the day.
True or false? This is going to be probably a shocking question to a lot of people. Your liver makes 80% of all the cholesterol in your blood. Is that true or false?
I want you to disregard what you heard from the doctor earlier and go
Yeah,
ahead with a
just
fresh
forget what I
question.
said.
Absolutely forget it. Okay, so let's see. Why don't we go back to social media, this time from our friends with Rumble, P Taggy, they call themselves from Rumble. What are your thoughts about audio frequency wave therapy for treating issues like kidney stones?
I think what you're talking about is lithotripsy, which is sound waves. And I think that's a really good therapy because it's non-invasive. It's not surgery. You're putting a sound wave hyper focused right to that stone, and it breaks up into sand. And so it's relatively safe. You don't have to do a deeper anesthesia. You could go kind of a twilight light anesthesia, and then you pee the sand out. Um, just make sure that when you go through that, um, that you take a lot more magnesium in your diet going forward to prevent it from coming back. Have regular lemon juice for the citric acid. Avoid oxalates in the food as much as possible. And drink at least 2.5 liters of fluid every single day.
All right, very good. Now, this is no shock at all. We have 100% agreement on quiz
Man, you guys
question
are
number.
smart.
How did you do it,
Smart.
audience? Which said the liver makes all your stuff. I won't even repeat it because it's so obvious now. And 100% of the audience said, absolutely true. Your liver makes 80% of all the cholesterol in your blood. Are they right, doctor?
They are correct. The liver has some interesting things. You can take 75% of the liver out of your body right now and still be fine and actually grow back. You can grow it back in a few months. So the liver has this amazing ability to repair and bounce back and regenerate. It takes a beating, but it keeps on ticking. So when you really appreciate that, there is going to be a point of no return if you keep destroying your liver. But the good news is if you change your ways, you can get almost a new liver back if you take care of yourself. So I better stop right there because I think there's some more questions related to the liver, Steve.
All right, well, let's distract everyone by going to the green room. And in this case, we're going to go to David, who is from Corona, California. And David, you're on with Dr. Berg.
Hi, Dr. Berg. Thanks so much for taking my question today. I recently had VSG surgery where they cut out about 80% of my stomach. And I was able to go from the day of surgery at 380 pounds down to about 310 pounds, where I kind of plateaued. I rediscovered you and your book, bought it. I'm currently taking your electrolytes, your cruciferous tablets, also the wheat juice powder. My question to you is, because I'm limited in the capacity that I'm capable of digesting at a time, what suggestions do you have for me to be able to get in my 7 to 10 cups of vegetables, in addition to a proportionate amount of fats and proteins in my diet?
Good question. I don't think you're going to be able to do that. But what you can do is you can do what you can, maybe 3 or 4 cups, and then just try to see if you can do um, like maybe steamed broccoli or some cooked other vegetables, which is going to be easier to digest. And then maybe even throw in there some fermented vegetables. That way you get the benefit of some of those phytonutrients. And but yeah, you're not going to be able to handle the 10 cups. You're gonna. I was thinking about having. I thought I had a great idea until Steve reminded me that's not a good idea. A salad eating contest. He said, no, 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 that's not a good idea. No one was going to sign up for that because you're going to bind yourself up. But I think if you also, you're going to probably have to focus on a little bit smaller meals and then just make sure they're high quality. Maybe you can throw in a little bit of, organ meats if you can do that, or um, probably going to have to substitute. There is trace minerals in my electrolyte power, so that's good. Make sure you have enough vitamin D. That's going to be important, especially since you probably improved your insulin resistance greatly by doing that. But Now I think you're still over 300. You want to probably bring it down more than that. So if you just follow some of the protocols that we're recommending, and you'll eventually come down into wherever you want to go. But I think um, when you drink liquid, some apple cider vinegar, a little bit in your water, it's going to help with your blood sugars. Berberine is a good supplement. And then also, you know, um, if you get more bloating, then you're going to have to evaluate that, because I know some people, when they restrict, they're taking out or altering some of the digestion, all of a sudden the bloating goes up. So the question is, does the person need more stomach acid, or is it more bile, or is it going to be more enzymes, or just less fiber? So anyway, you're going to have to kind of just tweak things as you go to adapt your body. But I think you'll be fine if you just go along and then watch some of the videos on digestion, because that's really your weak link now. But you can go through it fine without any issues.
I will say, as of doing your program, I'm a part of the keto and intermittent fasting group that you've got online, where it's a monthly reoccurrence, and been reading your book. I've got from 310 down to today at 276. I
Wow.
am in ketosis. Yeah, I am in ketosis. I buy the strips that you recommended, the urine strips, and I test myself, and I'm feeling pretty incredible. So I'm very grateful for you and the information you've provided to help out, and very appreciative.
That's great. There will be a point when you won't see any more ketones in your urine, just because you're going to be using them as fuel, in which case you just switch to a little handheld glucose monitor with or a ketone monitor. You can take the blood and test it, and you'll be able to detect your ketone levels. But well done. Good job.
Thank you.
Great call. Appreciate it, David. Okay, let's go back to social media. Rose Marie from Facebook. What's the best way to reduce belly fat?
That's a good question. Belly fat is mainly visceral fat. Visceral fat is a backup plan, because there's not enough storage in your superficial fat, like the love handles. There's a limit to how much storage of superficial fat that you can store. So then you have this other fat called visceral, which is around the organs. So the best way is to really get your carbs lower, exercise a bit more, and make sure that you're doing intermittent fasting, and that way that'll take care of that pretty A to B. The other thing that I want to just mention is that sometimes people that have belly fat also have a lot of bloating, and that can make you feel like you're fat, but it's really digestive related because of all the things that we eat. There's a couple common things that will create bloating. A lot of the too much fiber, especially the synthetic fibers that they're using now, like in these protein bars and some of the foods and some of the so-called keto-friendly meals. They put a lot of soluble corn fiber and tapioca fiber and resistant starch and another synthetic fiber called polydextrose. So all these different things, you're going to walk away going, why do I feel so bloated? So eat just real food, not packaged. And another thing that can bloat you is some of the other ingredients in processed foods. They're called like emulsifiers. They're called emulsifiers, which I'm going to share a video on that. But like, if you just take a look at an average boxed food and you start looking at the ingredients, there's probably like 24 ingredients in this thing right here. And if you look them up, because you have to, because you might not have a chemical or a organic chemistry degree, like a lot of this stuff just bloats and creates abdominal pain, and it just looks exactly like visceral fat, but it's not.
All right. Let's see. Why don't we go to quiz question number 2 for the day? And there you have. And you didn't give away the answer on this one, I don't believe, Doc.
The liver, true or false? The liver is the place where people store toxins.
All right. Climb on that. Back to social media. Lila from YouTube, what are your recommendations to approach the horrible issue of macular degeneration?
first thing is you make sure you get the seed oils out of the diet. They're all over. So you have to read labels and you have to start to use other oils, not the seed oils, soy, corn, canola. The second thing is the macula is the back part of the retina. It's it's your brain extending in out of the skull into the eyeball. And so one of the things that irritates and destroys the macula, especially as you age, is the blue light. And you can get that a lot of that from your cell phones, flipping at night before you go into bed, chronic looking at your computer. So I will be releasing a video on this topic, and so you can have alternatives because there's like there's certain filters that you can just download on your computer that will filter that out. There is a very inexpensive pair of glasses. It might be $2.95 um, that you can get as a blue light filter. In this video that I'm going to show you, I test out a whole bunch of blue blockers, and I show you that a lot of them don't work, including sunglasses don't work for blue light. And blue light is something that can really destroy your macula. So if you're wearing sunglasses and think it's helping you, it's not. You have to get either a clip-on or just some blue blockers, which also, by the way, inhibit your melatonin, affecting your sleep at night. Now, if you're starting to get macular degeneration, I would start taking like lutein, zeaxanthin, which is from certain foods that you can eat, even like egg yolks. So there's certain supplements you can take, make sure you don't get the synthetics, that can support the macula as well, and sometimes even reverse the damage.
All right. Terrific. Our audience is the smartest in the world, and they've immediately answered quiz question number 2, which asked, true, false, the liver is the place where people store toxins. And they weren't all in agreement this time. 65% say it's false, the majority, and 35% say it's true.
People think that the liver stores. No, it does not. It breaks down poisons and toxins. The poisons, the toxins are stored in your fat cell. So it's not in the liver, unless you have fat in the liver. So it's not a storage place for toxins, but a lot of toxins go through there, and you have this really amazing, complex, miraculous machine that just will take a poison and then turn it into something that's no longer poisonous. It's mind blowing.
Okay, Rumble again. Rumble Mania from guess where? Rumble. Can creatine help resolve my crepey type skin issues?
I don't know. You should try it and see. It might. There's another thing that you might want to look at: hyaluronic acid. It's a supplement, and maybe you take 200, maybe 300 milligrams a day. Don't take more than that because it could actually bind you up. But I think that would be a smart one to take, and that's been known to really help give not just your joints lubrication, but your skin more hydration, more of a youthful look. So it's good for repair. It's good for a lot of things, but definitely if you want to support the skin.
Okay, Joy from Facebook. Any advice for someone who craves sugar in the middle of the day? I'm currently on a no-carb diet with regular exercise. She also has psoriasis. Should she go gluten-free?
Okay, did she say she's lower sugar?
She says she craves it. She's on a no-carb diet, but she sure wants it in the afternoon.
Okay, no carb. Well, question is, why would you be concerned of gluten if you're on no carb? So maybe you are eating carbs and or starches and things like that. Those are carbs. Those are hidden sugars. But yes, I would definitely get off the gluten for sure. But the fact that you have psoriasis means you need high doses of vitamin D3. Very, very important. As far as the cravings, believe it or not, it could be related to your exercise. If you're doing a little too much, it can spike adrenaline, cortisol, that can affect blood sugars, believe it or not. So you might want to tone down the exercise. But a good way to do this is to get a continuous glucose monitor, and you can test yourself 24/7 and see what's going on. Is it your exercise? Because if you're not eating carbs, then what is going on? Why would you crave sweets? Um, it's like you should be burning fat. Um, so anyway, if someone is craving sweets or hungry a lot and they're on the low carb diet, I'm going to first find out, are they really on it? Because they might not be on it. They might think they're on it, but they're not on the version that I recommend. Or there's something that they're not doing correct, but I would need more information to figure that out. But I have a lot of videos on that.
All right, very good. Why don't we go back to the green room this time with, I hope I said it right, Uzma, and she is from Toronto. And Uzma, you're on with Dr. Berg.
Hi, Dr. Berg. My question would be that I have a very interesting bundle of issues. And for that, I would like you to tell me, like, if you recommend any type of workouts or any type of diet that I should be for the rest of my life, because I have a condition called essential thrombocytopenia, and that is like the very high level of platelets in my blood. At the same time, I'm low iron since birth and low hemoglobin, so it's a thalassemia condition, as well as I have hypothyroidism as well. So since I turned 40, like the weight management has become an issue. Like there's a lot of bloating usually. And I've been just told by the doctors to avoid junk food. I do take medication for the controlling of the platelets. So that's why I really wanted to discuss, like, I can't follow something that can be good for one issue and at the same time be very bad for the other issues that I have.
Mm-hmm. Right. So the question is, are they connected? We don't know. Are they two separate problems? We're not sure exactly. But for something like this, that is, there's too many unknowns. You can do a long history, you can do more blood testing, but I think you'd be a perfect person to get one of those metabolomic tests. I did an interview with Dr. Dimitri. I think you could find it through my hypothyroid video. I interviewed him. He works out of Greece, but you can do it remotely and get a test done. And why that's important is because instead of trying to treat you for high platelets, let's see what's going on with your biochemistry a lot deeper. What's going on with your cells in general? Why do you have that? Is there something going on with some metabolic pathway that is blocked or needs some support? Because that's like the best ultimate picture to look at, not just the real-time biochemistry, but also your lifestyle, your genetics, all in one. We get to see a picture of what's going on to figure this out, because it's hard. And when I was in practice, I didn't have that tool. I would just say, well, good, let's just try this. Did that work? No. Let's try this. Did that work? No. This work? And then try to just keep trying different things, because it's so hard to tell what's going on. There are natural things that maybe would help support you on these platelets. And the automatic thought on that would be tocotrienols, which is like a natural blood thinner, garlic, nattokinase, things that can help your thrombocytes. The other thing too is that adrenaline is probably an enemy. Like, you don't want to go through a lot of stress states, because that can create clotting and things like that. So I think you'd be fine, just as long as you keep a completely stress-free life, and you're going to be totally fine. I'm sure that's pretty easy to do.
I have to 100% agree, because I acquired this. This does not run in my family. I acquired this at the time when I was going through the most stress in my life. So
Okay, interesting.
yeah.
So then that yeah, because there's a connection there. So probably one of the things to do is to support your adrenals, and make sure you address your ability to deal with stress. I think, if I'm not mistaken, any diagnosis that has the essential before it, that word essential means unknown cause. Do they tell you what essential means? Like, we don't know. It's just,
Not exactly, but I was told that there's not so much research on this and it's a rare
right.
condition.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think that metabolomic testing would be awesome because you can look inside and really see, it's just taking away the mystery, getting all the data, looking at looking at your inside, because that's, once you have the data, now we're like, oh, this is what's going on. So you're not guessing so much. I think that would be the best thing. So yeah, I don't have that information. You have to find that video and then find the link to get more information about that test.
Thank you. Thank you so
You're welcome.
much.
Okay, great call. Thanks so much for calling in. And let's go back to social media. Saydow, our friend from Rumble, what is your opinion on Shilajit? Did I say that right? Shilajit? It contains 85 minerals that are supposed to be beneficial. Could you make a video about it? Ever heard of that stuff?
Yeah. I think I heard a lot of great things about it. I just don't know a lot more than that. A lot of people are liking it and they're getting results, but I can't give you any opinion because I haven't really did any deep dive into that topic.
Okay, very good. Sorry for stepping on your doc. How about another question then instead of that?
Yeah.
There we go.
Let's get on the question that I can answer, because I wrote the question. Why do you think there is an increased risk of developing calcium in the arteries when you're doing vigorous, intense exercise?
Huh. All right, audience, I know they'll have an answer for that. Back to social media while we wait for their tally. Soul from Facebook, what is the best way to reverse calcification of the arteries? Ta-da. Oh, I guess I shouldn't have asked that, should I?
That's fine. This way people can get a hint to the question. Yeah, so calcium deposits occur not randomly for a reason. There's something going on in the arteries. There's some type of lesion going on in the arteries that this calcium's coming in as a Band-Aid with cholesterol and protein to help heal it. So, the first thing you need to look at is your diet. What are you eating that could be doing that? So it could also be that you need to support this pathogenic calcium by adding more magnesium and vitamin K2 and even vitamin D3, which acts as an anti-inflammatory. So there's a lot of things you can do for reversing that calcium. But I will say there's two types of plaque. There's soft plaque and hard plaque. And the soft plaque, believe it or not, is more dangerous because it can break off. The hard plaque is not going anywhere. It's just kind of sealing things. And sometimes when you start to heal the body, your CAC score could go up. And you might think, oh, that's a bad thing. But really, the soft tissue calcium is turning into the hard tissue calcium. And it's becoming more stable. So it's not always a bad thing. I think the takeaway is if you have any type of calcium in your arteries, I don't care how much, it's just time to change your lifestyle. And that's the best you can do, and start to change your ways and do everything you can to stop it from getting worse. So don't just try to treat the symptom, but fix the lifestyle.
Okay, very good. Let's go to Lisa from our friends in Facebook. What are your recommendations to address the horrible GERD?
That's a situation where the valve on the top of the stomach is not closing, usually because the sensor on the valve is not getting enough feedback or from the stomach being acid enough. So there's this whole regulation when you eat. The question is, how does the valve know to close and open? Well, one way is through the pH of the stomach. And so if you're eating, especially protein, that valve should close, right? You don't want the regurgitation to kind of come up there. And so, but if you don't have enough acid, that sends signals that open the valve. And so now food starts to regurgitate, acid starts to come up into your esophagus, and you think, oh my goodness, I have an acid stomach. No, you don't. You don't have enough acid. So one way to cure GERD, don't quote me on this, is just to add betaine hydrochloride. It's an acidifier. And you can take, I would take probably 5 before a meal. Some people take twice that. And you do that for a period of time until that regurgitation goes away. But just realize sometimes it takes longer to correct it to the point where you finally have the right pH in your stomach, which is between 1 and 3. You should also stop eating certain foods that aggravate it, because in order to build that acid, you need sodium, you need potassium, vitamin C, zinc. There's a lot of nutrition that helps that acid.
Okay, very good. Let's. Eric loves D3 so much it's part of his handle. Eric D3 from Rumble. I've been doing intermittent fasting, but I can't seem to stop belching. Is this related to the pancreatic issues? Are there any supplements available to address belching so much?
Belching is more gallbladder. So I would, burping, belching is more gallbladder. So I would take when you eat, you probably should take some bile salts right after the meal to kind of build up your bile. If you don't have enough bile, then when you eat certain things, you'll start belching and burping.
Okay, very good. Selena from YouTube. What are the health benefits of castor oil? Are there any?
There are. It's great for the skin, great for the hair, the scalp. It supports the integrity of the skin. It doesn't hurt the microbiome on the skin. It helps with wrinkles, hydration. The fats help to get rid of. Basically, there's certain phytonutrients in there that actually help the oxidative damage. So you'll find that blemishes tend to go away, and it's really good. It's very supportive for the roots of the hair, especially your scalp, as well as the hair on the eyelids. So watch my video on that. There's a lot of great things about it.
Okay, a lot of great things about our audience because they answer the questions rapidly. And this is their thoughts on quiz question number 3, which asks, why do you think there is an increased risk of developing calcium in the arteries from very vigorous exercise? 62% of them said that exercise burns off and depletes K2 and D3. 28% say it depletes the magnesium, and 10% say exercise increases blood pressure that might affect the arterial functions. Boy, those are technical sounding answers. What do you think, Doc?
So just realize that this is an association. It doesn't mean you're going to have that. It really has to do, I think, with your ability to recover. Because people that do intense exercise don't have an association, but people do very intense, vigorous. So that tells me that it's probably going to put people in a category of maybe overtraining. That's what I think that's happening with that. So as long as you recover, I think you're going to be fine, because think about what happens when you exercise. You're creating damage, you're creating inflammation. And if you do it too much, it can be harmful. Too much exercise is harmful. Like if you exercise 24/7, that could be harmful. Now, I want to add one thing to this because I'm going to do a video on this. A lot of people that exercise, especially doing competitive type things, long distance, even intense, they want to increase their energy. So they have what's called energy drinks. They have certain electrolyte drinks. They have certain energy bars. They have this little goo that you have, which is pure maltodextrin and fructose. And so they're consuming a lot of refined sugars, which I think is really, really bad if you're an athlete and you have all this stress, because these refined carbs are going to actually, in order for them to work, for that fuel to be used as energy, it needs certain vitamins, like especially B1. And if you don't have that, it's going to deplete your reserves. So if you're chronically adding all these energy drinks and all this stuff without enough of the right cofactors, nutrients, you create a deficiency, and then that's when you get damage. You don't get the recovery, and you get a high percentage of people who exercise intensely or long-term runners, things like that, that are consuming these high refined sugar foods every hour, whatever. They have a lot of digestive issues, diarrhea, which could be very dangerous if you're an athlete, losing your electrolytes. They have bloating, they have abdominal pain. So I'm against those. If as a step up, why don't you just try like dates, or do something from actual ripe bananas or fruit that at least won't deplete you of nutrients, versus this maltodextrin crap, which it ignites so fast with your metabolism. It just turns in sugar so fast, but it has no nutrients. So
What a waste. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to quiz question number 4, and right after that, we're going to go to our final participant, Lisa. So let's go ahead with this question, Doc.
true or false? Using your cell phone too much can create a dopamine deficiency.
All right, audience, what do you think? And here we go. Let me cut her audio on. And Lisa, you are on with Dr. Berg with your one question. Go ahead.
Hi, doctor. Thanks for answering my question. I've had psoriatic arthritis for 40 years, and I've taken the biologic Enbrel and the steroid prednisone for that long. Help for that. In addition, GERD for as long. I've taken omeprazole for that. I would like to wean off of that as well. Can I take betaine hydrochloride while taking omeprazole? It seems that I shouldn't. I know my gut microbiome must be a mess. Would the keto diet help me with any of this?
Greatly, very, very importantly, because it all boils down to first of all, in autoimmune issues, you want to support the immune system, and so keto will take a lot of the stress off your immune system. You're on steroids, which really suppress the immune system. So I think probably, especially as an immediate thing, I would take 30,000 IUs of vitamin D3 every single day, just as a way to reduce inflammation. That would be step number 1. I would get on the keto, and because I think what's happening, the reason why the betaine hydrochloride is not correcting it is because you haven't corrected the diet yet. And even with myself, I used to take warehouses of vitamins, and I didn't realize at the time that vitamins don't work if your diet sucks. So I had to change that, and then all of a sudden it worked. Just think about what the digestive system does. It handles food. So, and a lot of your problems are related to digestion. So I think that would be a huge impact. And then you add the intermittent fasting to that, and then reevaluate to see if you can come off some of the poisons. I'm sorry, the medications. And that way your body can repair. And vitamin D is like a steroid, a natural version of it without the side effect. Some people benefit from colostrum to repair some of the damage from the steroids. That may come in handy at some point, because when you come off steroids, it's like your adrenals are like, what am I going to do now? Because you kind of you bypassed your own steroids, and then your adrenals don't have to work as much anymore. So those are some general tips that I would do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Boy, such disciplined callers today. Thank you all so much for making that so brief. And let's see, no answer quite yet from quiz question number 4, but 5 Deuce 410, I was going to say from Yuma, but it's YouTube. What are your thoughts about taking sea moss and black seed oil?
Both of those are really good. Sea moss is a type of seaweed. Black seed oil they found it in King Tut's tomb. I mean, it's been around for a very long time. It pretty much handles almost everything. So it's a great um, thing to take for a lot of conditions. Sea moss also has a lot of trace minerals. And I think that's both of those together, I think is really good. But again, it all depends on your diet too. Are you eating healthy? This might be shocking, Steve, but there are people out there that instead of changing their diet, okay, they just exercise more and they just take some vitamins. So I don't know if that's the best strategy, but I think the diet's like really important. But that's just my opinion.
Well, that's what I've heard. Okay, here we go with quiz question number 4, which says using your cell phone too much can create a dopamine deficiency. And of course, the audience has an opinion. 98% of them say it's true, and 2% I like them. They're holding out for false. Takes a lot of courage.
So this dopamine thing is, you're going to get some pleasure when you get entertained. You always have all these cat videos, right? You're watching through this thing, you're flipping through, which so many people do, especially at night. And then what happens over time, it raises dopamine to the point where if you do it too chronically, it can actually downgrade the receptors for dopamine. And you're going to find that it takes greater amounts of dopamine to create the same pleasure. So with any addiction, it kind of it's a trap, because the more you do, the more it doesn't work, the more you need it. And so you're in a catch-22. So, of course, when you're on social media, of course, it's okay to watch my videos, but just don't watch other people's. Right? That's my unbiased bad recommendation.
No, your videos are dopamine rich, I can assure the audience. Okay, here's our final quiz question for the day, Doc. Another true
Okay,
false.
true or false. Each minute of cell phone use before bed can delay, by reducing melatonin, your sleep by 3.5 minutes.
True or false, audience? Okay, back to now we're going to have a social media marathon. Lisa from Facebook, are there any recommendations to help out with autism, ADHD, and OCD? It's a big group.
Yes, there is. I didn't release this video yet, but probably one of the best nutrients for all of those conditions would be higher doses of vitamin B1, natural B1. Works great, works wonderful. The other thing, and then take that in a blend of all the B vitamins, right? Because sometimes you don't want to take just one of something. The other thing that would be really good is for autism is to take sulforaphane or just consume broccoli sprouts, because sulforaphane, broccoli sprouts tend to improve autism as well. With autism, you're getting a lot of neurological brain oxidative stress. So the key is reducing that, and phytonutrients are important. Correct eating is going to be important. But ultimately, vitamin B is kind of like the key hub nutrient for OCD, ADD, all sorts of irritation or mood disorders or bipolar, even psychosis. So vitamin B1 is great for that. And you can see changes within minutes. Sometimes by taking that, you'll see person just feels more themselves. So something to try.
And as consumers, how can we identify what is a natural B1 versus something that's not?
Usually when you look at the back of the label, you're going to see all the B vitamins the same amount. They're not buried, or they're in a super high level amount. And it should say natural B1 on the label too. If it doesn't say natural, chances are it's synthetic. And some people say there's no difference, even though it's from petroleum and it's synthesized in a lab, in a chemical factory. I don't know. I think there's a difference. That's just my opinion.
Certainly supports it with your argument. The final question of the day was another true-falser. Each minute of cell phone use before bed can delay by reducing melatonin, your sleep by 3.5 minutes. 100% of our respondents say it's true.
They're correct. So, when you're flipping through the phone at night, can you hear me, Steve?
Sure can.
Okay, it just went black. What you can do is you can keep it short. If someone calls you, use a speakerphone, keep it away from your head because there's EMF coming off of that. I have the tri-field tester right here. If you don't have a tri-field is one of the best units out there because it measures even microwaves and radio waves from your router or your the cell phone towers. Others don't. But I took this and I went through my entire house, and you're going to be shocked to find out where some of this bad invisible radiation is coming from that could be affecting your body, especially your computers. It allows you to make adjustments. About the tri-field, I'll put a link down below. And the reason I mention that is because it's invisible, and this allows you to see what's invisible. But with the cell phone, when you set these to different frequencies, like there's electronics in here, right? There's also electronics that make magnetic fields that go around your body. There's also radio waves that come from the cell tower that's going through your house and it's hitting your phone. So you get to identify these different things and see how it's affecting you, especially if someone's calling you and it's like, zzz, 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 into your brain. But there's that. And then there's the blue light, in which case you need to use a good filter that would filter out the blue light. I'm going to release a video soon that will show you that most of those blue filters do not work. But guess what? I found one that's less than $3 you can get that does work, and I demo it. And I'm not affiliated with the company, but you can just order it and get yourself the blue blocker. Now, when you should wear it is like a couple hours before bed if you're sitting in front of the TV or you're on your computer. And it is amazing when you start to, I didn't realize this, but when I start wearing this blue light or filter, boy, by the time I'm ready for bed, which is going to be 9:30 or 9:45, I can barely walk upstairs. I am so tired. So it really does work when you filter out the blue light. Blue light naturally from the sky keeps you awake, and it sends signals that it's time to stay awake. So when you're getting blue light from the cell phone, you're getting signals, stay awake. You don't want that before you go to bed. So you want to start dimming the lights down and avoid cell phone use, or just wear those glasses. So simple solution that you should know about. Of course, you're going to look kind of funny wearing glasses in your living room, but oh well.
That's right. Well, I'm interested with myself. So in the link is where you're going to put that, or in a link below?
Yeah, I'll put the link for this, but I didn't release the video on the blue light. I tell you what I'll do. When I do release that video, which I'll try to do it this weekend, maybe, if I haven't edited. And then what we'll do is I'll put the link down below here. So if you're watching it, maybe you could find the link of that video and you could get all that information.
Wonderful. Thank you, Doc. Okay, Gabriella from Rumble, interesting question. Are there any natural remedies for breast hypoplasia, which apparently is insufficient granular tissue, in women who are having difficulty breastfeeding?
I don't know, but I will say anytime you're having problems with breastfeeding, what I found that works is to recommend nutritional yeast. Start consuming more nutritional yeast. You get those B vitamins. It really helps to fortify the milk flow.
Okay, very good. Ben from Facebook, what are good supplements for a diabetic friend undergoing prostate surgery so he can reduce inflammation and accelerate tissue healing?
Well, I would definitely get on the eating plan first. And then I would also take berberine. Berberine, hands down, is one of the best things that mimic metformin without the side effects. Now, you probably won't see a lot of news on this because it takes away from that drug. Big Pharma doesn't like it, but I did release a video on the research on berberine compared to metformin, and it's pretty similar. So it can help with insulin resistance, blood sugars, and get the person stabilized as long as you're cutting down their carbs.
Okay, let's see. Anton from Facebook. How should the keto, this is an interesting question too. A lot of great ones today. How should the keto diet be adjusted for a skinny person trying to put on weight versus someone on keto trying to lose weight?
That is the problem with keto, is that it causes weight loss. So you're going to have to increase your calories, keep increasing your calories a lot. And that's sometimes it's not easy. And I wouldn't be doing one meal a day. You might need maybe 3 meals, no snacks. Okay, just do keto. And then started maybe adjusting more fats. But you definitely, it's going to be more calories, more heavy lifting, exercise. These are all things that can prevent the weight loss. You will lose fat, but you can also gain some muscle too.
Okay, very good. Janice from YouTube. Could you please make a video about supplements that should and should not be taken together? What's the worst combination of supplements to take together in your opinion?
Okay, I'm making note on that, and I think that's a great video because you don't want to be taking one supplement and neutralize the effect of another. That would be bad, right?
Good question, Janice. Anton from Facebook. How should the keto diet be adjusted? I just tried. Oh, no, I just asked that. Olive from YouTube. Does refined avocado oil have any health benefits? How about unrefined avocado oil? Is it better for you than the other?
I think I think refined avocado oil is definitely better than other oils, but it's still not good because it's refined. So unrefined is always going to be better, especially when you get into fats. Um, it's probably going to be less refined than some of the oils that they have to use salt, like hexane solvents, to extract certain things. So it really is, any oil that's processed like that is just not going to be good. So be careful of that. I would also, I like the raw extra virgin olive oil, or maybe butter or tallow or lard. Cook with those things. But all these other oils, you got to be careful. They're in the foods hardcore. And honestly, I do a lot of cooking with olive oil, and some people say, "Oh, wow, that's gonna create a problem for this or that." But at least it starts off as a good product, and we're not starting off with some type of oxidized industrial waste product. By the way, in fact, the first oil that they use is cottonseed oil, and that came from. It started out they used it as a fuel for lanterns, and then they put it into the feed supply, and then someone had a great idea, let's put it in the human diet, and they started mixing with olive oil, and it got over to Europe, and they found out about it, and they said no way. And so of course the Americans said, oh yeah, we'll eat it, so we'll just eat it and we'll get rid of the saturated fats. And here we are, over 100 years later, consumes 30% of our calories are seed oil, and we're basically eating the waste product of other products.
All right. Well, I was a little late getting us started today. How about one more question from Cass from Facebook? Berberine works great, but I have a terrible reaction to it. Any alternatives you can suggest?
Yeah. Cinnamon is a good one. Gemnema, vitamin D, potassium, all these are really, really good for stabilizing blood sugars. But ultimately, your diet is going to create the biggest bang for your buck. And on that note, thank you for your attention this long, sticking around. Stay tuned for more of these shows every Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a good one.